host of the Gridiron.
Fourth and goal to go with the 2. 34 seconds left to go in the ball game. This is the play right now. Takes the snap. Targeted goes in. Targeted all alone. And the quarterback keeps. Wow, what a call. Nobody touched him.
All right, nobody touched them, baby. Welcome to the Gridiron. If you can give this video a thumbs up or maybe share this video, that would be absolutely freaking phenomenal. If you subscribe to my channel, thank you. If not, please go down below, hit the subscribe button, hit that bell icon. That way next time I go live, if I put a video out, you'll be notified. And it's free of charge. What do you got to lose? It's totally free of charge. But if you are subscribed to my channel, thank you. If you want to help support my channel, in the description box below, very top link in the description box takes you to my membership page. I got 3 different membership levels. Each one has their own little perks to them. So if you want to help support my channel, it would mean so much to me. I thank you in advance. And then finally, just underneath that, there's another link somewhere in that box. It takes you to my Facebook group. It's called the New York Giants Gridiron. It's my Facebook group. We have over 9,600 members in the group. It is doing simply marvelous, might add. Basically, if I'm alive and breathing and if I got internet access, I am putting stuff in this group down there 365. It's called the New York Giants, the Gridiron. It's my Facebook group. Please join it. You will not be dissatisfied. I promise. All right. Well, we got a lot of stuff to talk about here. We're only but not actually less than 3 weeks away from the draft. Man. I tell you what, boy, it's time just moving on. I mean, it just seems like it was whatever it was. I don't know. A couple days ago, seems like free agency was here, and now all of a sudden it's the draft is just crazy, absolutely crazy. All right, so there was one interesting thing that I saw. All right, let's try to see. I'm trying to get this thing to pop up here. And it don't look like it's going to work. But anyway, if it was going to work, did Brian Daboll actually tip his cap or tip his hand, tip his card, show his hand, right? As far as what's going to go on maybe with the number 3 overall pick, right? Very, very interesting. Because one thing that was asked of him, right, what was asked was when he was at his press conference at the league meeting and all and everything. They asked him, they said, are you going to, you going to any pro days? He's like, no, I don't go to pro days. No, you don't, no pro days, huh? Okay. Then, he was seen, okay, at, the Colorado Pro Day today. So it was rather interesting, rather interesting what, I mean, it just, some of it doesn't make any sense, right? If you're not going to, pro days, then why were you at the Colorado Pro Day today? So then does that mean, as I'm saying, is like, why did you go to this one, right? In particular, why did you go to this one in particular? The Colorado one. I mean, there's only, there's, you're pick 3, right? There's 2 of these players here could go pick 3. So why did you go to this one? Very interesting. One thing I did see, I was from, hey, I'm Adam Schefter. Hey, man. Well, there was something he put out that said, Brian, nope. It's here somewhere. There you go. Giant draft rumors from Adam Schefter. Hi, I'm Shefty. Feels like Browns and Giants will pass on Shedeur Sanders. That's what, that's from the Big Blue View. According to him, the rumor mill continues to swirl. I mean, we'll continue to realize that nobody really knows anything, which is absolutely true. You're absolutely true. I mean, all of this stuff could be just smoke and mirrors, right? I mean, that's one thing that Gettleman had did a very bad job of. Very bad job. it seemed like almost like the entire everybody, even people in like Uganda, knew what Dave Gettleman was who he was taking or who he wanted, or what I mean. So I mean, good chance that possibly some of this stuff could be all smoke and mirrors. Try to what would you say? Cause up some rumors, stir up some rumors and stuff like that, and all and everything. So you don't know. I mean, once again, well, we'll have to all wait and see. Of course, it's less than 3 weeks away, and we'll find out exactly, all the, exactly what the Giants have in mind. Because once again, it doesn't matter what I think, doesn't matter what Mel Kiper Jr. It doesn't matter. It only matters two guys. And actually, Joe Shane is basically the kahuna there. Again, we're going to be talking a little more about that dynamic duo a little farther down our program here tonight, right? The Shane and Daboll, right? But as I said, according to Adam Schefter, Adam Schefter said on the Pat McAfee show that it feels like both the Browns and the Giants will pass on quarterback Shedeur Sanders with the second and third picks in the draft. Certainly feels like the Cleveland Browns are inclined to look elsewhere, aside from the quarterback, Schefter said. Shefty. And it starts to feel like the Giants at number 3 are starting to look elsewhere other than quarterback as well. I mean, you look, I mean, if you think, right? I mean, if you got like Myles Garrett on one side, if you could put Abdul Carter on the other side for the Browns, So if they took Carter, I couldn't blame them one bit. Right? Not one bit. Let's say we posted mock drafts on the Bruce Feldman of The Athletic and Field Yates of ESPN on Tuesday, whether Sanders was the choice number 3. Let's see. Giants GM Joe Shane said on Monday that after signing veteran quarterback Russell Wilson and Jameis and Winston, Giants can go any which direction with the third pick. He also said to use a pick that high on a quarterback, the franchise has to believe that player is capable of winning a Super Bowl, which is true. That's absolutely true. We find out how the Giants really feel about Sanders in a little more than 3 weeks. Well, actually, it's a little less than 3 weeks. Right? Because obviously, right. What? Round 1 is Thursday, right? So, okay. So, Giants Brian Daboll attends the Colorado Pro Day, contradicting himself and Joe Shane. Giants head coach Brian Daboll attended Colorado's Pro Day on Friday, 3 days after saying he wasn't going. And 4 days after general manager Joe Shane said Brian Daboll doesn't go to any pro days. This must be a big pro day then. The About Face added an unusual chapter to a tense offseason for a regime on the hot seat entering year 4. Shane was asked at the NFL owners meeting in Palm Beach, Florida, why Daboll hadn't attended quarterback Cam Ward's Miami Pro Day last week. He doesn't go to any pro days, Shane said. Okay. Daboll then was asked on Tuesday if he was going to Colorado's Pro Day on Friday to watch quarterback Shedeur Sanders and wide receiver / cornerback Travis Hunter. No. Pro Day? No. Daboll said, no. I'm not going to Pro Day. All right. If you say so. But there was Daboll on Friday, standing on the turf next to Colorado offensive coordinator and former Giants head coach Pat Shurmur. And once again, offensive coordinator Pat Shurmur does a very good job. Pat Shurmur, the head coach, does not do a very good job. Let's not forget, Pat Shurmur in his final season, his final season as the coach, Daniel Jones's first season as quarterback, 24 touchdown passes, 12 interceptions. Now, he had a bunch of fumbles. A lot of that was also due to the porous offensive line, but 12 interceptions. I had to clean that up. But he started 12 games. 12 games he started, he threw 24 touchdown passes. Pat Shurmur, not a coach, not a head coach. Offensive coordinator, yes, absolutely. Let's see. As the son of Deion Sanders and Heisman Trophy winner, Hunter worked out for a large crowd of NFL evaluators. I think it was like 14 guys for the Giants went there. Giants unsurprisingly sent a huge contingent to watch the two Buffaloes standout that included senior personnel executive Chris Mara and director of player of personnel Tim McDonald. There is a high probability that one of the two Colorado players, yes, will be their number 3 pick overall, assuming Ward goes 1 to the Titans and Penn State, Abdul Carter goes number 2 to the Browns. I could see that happening. Absolutely. The only surprise was that Daboll was there after Daboll and Shane said that pro days weren't his bag. Very, very interesting. And then also, got another one here. This one is from Fansided. Brian Daboll may have just tipped Giants' hand on Shedeur Sanders at Colorado Pro Day. Well, it could have been Shedeur Sanders, but it also could have been Travis Hunter, too. Not very often, do you find a pro day, right, where you got 2 guys, right, at the same pro day can go in the top 5. It's kind of odd. Giants faithful are waiting patiently for the first night of the 2025 NFL Draft. With the offseason commencing and free agents being signed, all that awaits is to see who the teams take with the number 3 overall pick. Giants knew they needed to address the quarterback position, and they did. So by signing veterans Russell Wilson and Jameis and Winston. Even with those signings, that doesn't exactly preclude the team from drafting a quarterback. Cam Ward is likely off the board with the number 1 pick to the Titans, so that leaves Shedeur as an option for the Giants. On Friday, Giants may have tipped their hand as to where they are leaning with their first overall pick. Colorado Buffaloes hosted their pro day for all draft-eligible players, including quarterback Shedeur Sanders and reigning Heisman Trophy winner Travis Hunter. Giants were in attendance, and there was one person who was there, and that was head coach Brian Daboll. This comes days after he said he wasn't attending. NorthJersey.com Art Stapleton was the first to report that Daboll would be in attendance for Colorado's pro day. Who cares? Gives a crap. With that, the Giants may have just tipped their hand as to who they are leaning toward drafting with the number 3 overall pick. Giants may have tipped their hand on who they're drafting. It was stressed by Daboll and general manager Joe Shane that the head coach Brian Daboll doesn't attend pro days. Instead, Daboll prefers to evaluate talent during private workouts. I can understand that. But the fact that Daboll changes plans as one of 14 individuals with the Giants organization to arrive in Boulder, Colorado, does hint that the team is leaning toward drafting one of the Colorado stars in the first round. Sanders had himself quite a day, showing off his accuracy, which is his strong suit. Ain't no doubt about that. He was 58 out of 63. 3 of those passes were dropped. So basically, he had 2 incomplete passes that were basically his fault. Sanders will give the Giants a future under center, even though Shane and Daboll are in a prove-it year. Having Sanders in a room with Wilson and Winston would give the Giants the quarterback depth they needed for years. But there's also Travis Hunter, who is a can't-miss prospect. Can't-miss prospect. It's rare to see a football player play at 2 different positions. What makes it even rarer is that Hunter is a great cornerback and a great wide receiver. Notably, the Giants have needs at both positions. I would love to see them get, I love me some, Darius Slayton. Dude could play on my team 10 ways to Tuesday. If he's going to retire a Giant, I'm all for it, baby. He's just not, he doesn't scare the crap out of it. He's got speed, okay, but he's probably not one of those guys that keeps, other team defensive coordinators up at night. What keeps other teams' defensive coordinators up at night is like the Eagles. Got maybe like Devontae Smith and Brown. You got two dogs, right? If we had Hunter and we had Neighbors, booyah, right? So I can't, because I'm a freaking idiot. There's so many freaking guys out there like me, right? But talking about the draft and draft gurus and stuff like, there's so freaking, and every year there's another 3,000 guys to get it. It's so many. So on that, I can't remember who the guy was, but I've seen his face before, right? as I said, there's so many. I would go freaking bananas keeping up with all these guys, all these draft gurus and stuff. But I've seen this guy before. Anyway, he was on a YouTube video, and I can't remember who he was talking to, but they were talking about, maybe it was, I can't remember. Anyway, but they were talking about, this guy was talking about Travis Hunter, and he said he's a top 5 with hands and stuff like that, as far as what he said. As far as like hands and stuff, it's top 5 wide receiver. In like the past like 10 years. That's what he said. Not top 5 in this draft. He said like top 5 and with this, I guess, like crafty with his hands and catching all that stuff in the past 10 years. So you go back 10 years, there's been some pretty good wide receivers come. Once again, this is all according to this one guy. Right? Yeah, but there's been some pretty good wide receivers come. Yeah, I mean, right? I mean, one thing the Giants also needed, the Giants, we ain't BSing anybody, but Giants need a lot, right? But one other thing the Giants need, right? That you need explosive players, right? Guys that, I mean, as we've seen with Tracy, he can take it to the house, but he doesn't keep people up at nighttime. Who keeps people up at nighttime? A guy we let go, Saquon Barkley. He keeps people up at nighttime. You need people like that, right? Where they have to scheme. Nobody's like the defensive coordinators for the other teams aren't like up at night drinking pots of coffee. Damn, how are we going to stop that Tracy guy? Oh my God. Oh, he could put up 5 touchdowns on it. Oh my God. Nobody's doing that. If you give him a hole and stuff, sure. Yeah, absolutely. Hey, I love Tracy, man. I hope he's on our team forever. I'm fine with that, but we need someone to scare the crap out of the other team. If you got Wandale, I mean, right? He runs some really good routes, right? Can catch a lot of passes. Hopefully he can stay healthy. But you got Malik and Hunter. Woo, baby, yeah. Now you got 2 dogs, for a long time. It's going to cost you, about $500 billion to keep the 2 of them, but you got your dogs, right? So let me finish this up here. So we got Hunter as a can't miss prospect. It's rare to see a football player in 2 different positions. Notably, Giants have need at both positions. Given that Hunter can play wide receiver, it would give Wilson or Winston a weapon to throw the ball to in 2025. Plus, Shane and Daboll are fighting for their jobs, so getting a player who would make an immediate impact would make sense. Absolutely. Absolutely. Either way, based on Daboll reversing his course, it's starting to feel like a Colorado player, right? Will go 3rd overall to the Giants on April 24th. Whether it's Sanders or Hunter remains to be seen. So, the one thing is, I mean, which you gotta, right? Obviously think about, is they are fighting for their jobs, right? Now we're going to talk about the 2 of them and a little farther down our program here this evening, right? But, drafting like a Carter, immediate impact. Drafting a Hunter, immediate impact. Drafting Shedeur Sanders, especially if Cam Ward's off the board. Drafting Shedeur Sanders is not going to be immediate impact. I mean, just, for whatever, just for shoots and giggles, right? I mean, if you put him in the last 6 games of the season, that means the season's over with. Right? That means that we've got another losing season. And he still ain't, he'll give some excitement and all that, but he's got a lot to learn. Right? He's not going to be any type of immediate impact. So it's going to be very, very interesting to see, obviously in less than 3 weeks, who the Giants want to take in.